All right, hey guys, Jason here. We're up here. We are at Franklin GMC up here, getting to be a pretty sunset kicking in over there, and it is a Sunday, and we are up here, and what we're going to talk about today is the hidden factors you need to consider that nobody does when you're buying a truck, okay? About what type of truck you're gonna get. And these hidden factors nobody pays attention to, and they come back to bite you later on. You learn this by owning 41 different trucks of all different calibers, and then you end up seeing what the reality of it is. So we're gonna talk about that and stuff and teach you. First of all, some obvious ones, okay? Here we got a couple of 2500s right here, okay? We got Duramax diesel there, we got a Duramax diesel there, and we have a Duramax diesel there, and we have another Duramax diesel there. Back there, we got other ones, okay? But these Duramax diesels, not only are you gonna pay whatever it is, I gotta say it's probably like, what is it, $10,000, $12,000 extra for the diesel. What does it say on here? Let me look on here. It's gonna say on here for an extra $10,000. Okay, 10 grand right there for that diesel. $10,000 you're gonna pay up front for the diesel. People are like, 10 grand is worth it, I'll make that money back. But then you gotta take into consideration that the cost for diesel is often, I don't know what it is right now, but often it's $1 more per gallon. So yeah, you're getting a couple miles more per gallon, but you're also paying $1 more per gallon. You also have to put DEF fluid in them, okay? They have DEF. In here, when we open this, there is gas, diesel, and blue is DEF, okay? Diesel exhaust fluid that has to be added to these things regularly, and it's not cheap, especially if you're using the good stuff like Peak Blue or whatever it is. Like I said, it's been 5 years since I had a diesel, but it's not cheap to do that stuff. So those are costs that you have to take into consideration with that truck, is you got to put in the fact that you're going to not only pay for that, you're going to pay extra, your fuel is going to cost more, and everything else is going to cost more, not to mention the maintenance. Okay, fuel filters on most trucks, on gas trucks, people let them go for a long time. Heck, I can't honestly tell you that I've ever changed a fuel filter. Probably in the last one I did was probably on my 2014 F-150 was the last time I did, because I kept that one well over 140,000 miles. But you know, normally most people don't even change them. On a diesel, you have to change that thing. Like on my Ram, on my 2500 Cummins diesel Ram that I had, my 2019, I had to change those fuel filters, 2 of them, every 30,000 miles. It's not cheap, and it's not hard. I did it myself, but you have to do it. Oil changes on a diesel now today can be $200 for an oil change. Granted, you only have to do it it was recommended on my Cummins, every 15,000 miles. I did it every 10 or 12, okay, depending if I was towing or what I was doing. If we weren't towing or doing anything, I did it at 12. If I was towing, I did it at 10,000 miles. But that cost a couple $100 to get that done at the dealership. This stuff is things that you have to take into consideration, extra expenses. Let's go look at some other stuff and talk about some other things. Now, we don't see a ZR2 on here. Okay, now whether it's a 1500 Silverado ZR2, or it's a Colorado ZR2, or a Canyon AT4X AEV edition, okay, Chevy makes versions of these trucks that are basically, there's mine right there, my big old Ram, but they make versions of these trucks that are going to be Trail Boss, and then they make the ZR2. Like, these are probably Trail Bosses right here. I'm thinking this is a Trail Boss custom here. Let me see. Duramax in here, Z71. This is a Trail Boss. Trail Boss has a 2-inch lift on it from the factory. Got the G80 rear locker. It's a great truck. It's amazing. If you were to buy the ZR2 version, you get the incredible Multimatic DSSV spool valve shocks on that thing. Incredible shocks. However, to replace those, I think if I'm not mistaken, it's like $800 a shock. I could be wrong. I don't remember when I was looking before. I know it was $800 was either per pair or what, but you're looking at about $3,000 to $4,000 if that's the case, to replace the shocks on that when they go bad on a ZR2. On this, you could replace the shocks on a Trail Boss for literally like $400. Okay, these are hidden costs and factors that you got to take into consideration. Tires are another one. Okay, tires. If you have this truck and you're going to keep 32s on it, or these 32-inch tires that are on this thing, or max 33, but I think they're 32s. But either way, you can buy 4 of these tires for about $1,000. Okay, maybe $1,100. So that's pretty good. If you go doing this kind of stuff and throwing 35s on there, like I did here, now you're talking about $1,800. So when these wear out, $1,800. When these wear out, it's going to be $700 less. Okay, these are things that people don't put into play and take into consideration. Your windshields. The more tech that you have in here, rain sensors and all these, see that module back there and all that crap that's in there and that kind of stuff in there? When that windshield cracks and you have to replace that windshield, I know a lot of people do it through insurance, I understand it, but I'm just saying that takes that windshield up to $1,800 to replace it. Where if you have a vehicle that doesn't have that, and maybe if we can find one on here that is much more simple, but I don't even know if their work truck versions are any different. Are there simpler ones? No, probably not, because that's Turbo Max and still has it, so you're probably stuck with it any way you cut it. But you see what I'm getting at. Like in my Gladiator, I specifically picked my Gladiator because it did not have any of that sensor crap in the windshield, because I knew I went through windshields very often. Ironically, I never had to put a windshield in it. Only vehicle I've ever owned that I never broke a windshield in. Ironically, but you see what I'm getting at there. So these are things that you need to take into consideration. If you buy a Colorado versus buying a Silverado, your expenses become less there as well too. You also, if you read in a fine print and you realize that if you're buy a Colorado with a 2.7 liter, the 2.7 liter 4-cylinder engine, you buy this truck, you get a 50,000 mile powertrain warranty. If you buy the Silverado version of this one with the same engine in it, you get a 100,000 mile powertrain warranty. Okay, it's all these little things that play into factors and do that kind of stuff. Here's those HD trucks in gas versions here. Okay, so up front we saw the diesels. These are the gassers. Here's one of those ones that we saw earlier, this blue one right here. This is a Z71 package. We've seen what this is. They already sold the other one. This has got to be a new one, but we got the 6.6 gas motor in this thing. And what are we coming in at 50 what? $58,000. 58 grand, okay? That's, I don't know what that other one was, but I'm betting it was 30,000 bucks more, $25,000 more for that one. So again, in this one here, yes, you're gonna get less gas mileage, but you don't have to deal with DEF. You also don't have to deal with, so no DEF to deal with, no fuel filter changes constantly, much cheaper oil changes, simpler maintenance, less to, and when something does go wrong, it's cheaper and easier to maintain. These are hidden costs that need to be taken into consideration when you're buying the vehicle you're buying. The more the higher your vehicle goes, usually the more money it's going to cost to keep it running with stuff like that. The simplicity matters. This is the stuff we're looking for. As an example, one of my best vehicles I've ever bought, my little Jeep Renegade. It's a beautiful, amazing little Jeep Renegade that everybody laughs at. Do you know how much it cost me to put tires on that thing? It was $450 to put some Maxxis decent off-road tires on that, things that were oversized, an inch taller than stock, but it was not very expensive to put tires on it. I was laughing at the cost of that stuff. It got great gas mileage. It did fantastic. It went through everything very, very well and handled everything very well. So I had zero complaints on that, but I even looked at the time, in 2020, I could have bought a motor for that thing because I was driving it a lot of miles was the plan. My plan was to use it for work and travel all over the country for weddings and all the stuff I was doing and just burn it up and run through it like crazy. Then all that crap happened in 2020, shut all that down, and it changed everything. But that was my plan with it. So I even looked. It was like $2,500 I could buy a crate motor for that thing. And, me and a buddy could drop it in an afternoon. Talk about cheap and affordable and easy to own. Very affordable and easy to own. Shocks. I actually put iBox springs on the back of it. And I want to say they were like $210 for a brand new, iBox springs for the back of that thing because I was carrying so much camera gear. 40 grand in camera gear. Weighed that thing down so much it kind of looked funny, so I put more spring weight on there to accommodate that thing. So again, simpler is going to save you tremendous money. The more advanced you get, the better things you get, the cooler you make something, the more you do to it, the more hidden costs are associated with it later down the road when things wear out. Something to consider. Put it in the back of your head anyway. Questions, comments, put them below. Thanks for watching.